Hi, everyone. My name is Shai Reshef. I'm the president of University of the People, the first nonprofit, tuition-free, accredited online university. And today I have the great pleasure and honor to host Marie Sini, our new provost, that just recently joined us and is going to be for those who do not know what it is, the head of our academics from every perspective. Marie brings with her amazing experience in higher education and beyond. And I think that instead of going over her CV, I would just let her start by not only congratulating her, welcome, but Marie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your history, and what did you go through until this point in your life?
So many things. Thank you, Shai. And let me just say, it is such an honor for me to be joining you officially. I've known Shai and University of the People for a number of years now, but this is just a wonderful time for us to kind of come together. And I feel as though I'm hoping I can offer you some skills and experience that will help you move forward even and make things bigger and better for students. So, you know, it's funny when you're asked, you know, how did you get interested in something? Because I think most of us have this sort of winding career trajectory. And I didn't think that I would go into higher education. I thought I'd be a lawyer or a journalist. But I got very interested in career counseling and got a master's degree that helped me to be a career counselor and started working at a small college, small liberal arts nonprofit college. And we worked with a lot of adult students or returning students. And it's interesting because at the time, they were almost defined as primarily women. There was this idea that somehow women had not been able to finish their degrees. And so we had a lot of like returning women's groups. It's funny to think about that in retrospect, because now I think there's many men as women who are interested in finishing a degree. But I started to really see how much higher ed did not fit the lives of what I would call any non-traditional student. So you could be an adult, you could be somebody who has to work several jobs, you could be 20 years old, but in the military. And we just weren't set up to really help those students in a way to make things easy. It was, there was a lot of, well, here's our model and you come to us and change your life so that you can come to classes during the day, for example. Now we offered evening classes. This was before the internet, of course, and online education. But I just got this burning desire that as I moved on in my career, I wanted to be in situations where I could do more and more for adult learners. And so when I got my PhD, I was so fortunate after my PhD was finished to get my first postdoctoral job in another liberal arts university, but nonprofit, faith-based in Pittsburgh. But they had a very innovative unit that served non-traditional students. And we had Saturday classes and accelerated programs and all kinds of wonderful things. And I was their first faculty member that they hired. And then I became a director, et cetera. And so all the way through my career, I just kept moving to positions where I was able to influence what we could do for these non-traditional students from higher and higher levels. And so, the position that I think is most like the one that I'm coming into here is when I was provost at University of Maryland. Now it's called Global Campus. And we had, 85,000 students, and being there, because it was the first institution where I worked that was focused solely on the student. It wasn't and non-traditional students. It was not a university that sort of helped non-traditional students on the side. Everything they did was based on how do we reach students. And so University of the People is just a wonderful opportunity because you started this to help make higher education accessible, affordable, and really in tune with the students that we're trying to serve. And that's been my heart and my career. So that's how I got here.
So, but you were involved with us for
Yeah.
many years in different ways. Uh, how and why did you become involved with your people?
Yeah, I can remember it very vividly. I read a piece in, I think it was Inside Higher Ed about University of the People. And then I went and I looked at your TED Talk and I thought, oh, this is, this is a dream come true. What a wonderful idea. And I wanted to, I wanted to meet you. So I knew someone at a foundation who had worked with you and asked him to introduce me. And for those of you, if Shai out there, if Shai ever reaches out to you, say yes, he'll buy you lunch, but you're going to walk away agreeing to do things for him. You are,
I no,
true.
I disagree with that, but okay.
It's good. It's how you get, people excited about the university. But no, the learning model is fascinating. With peers helping each other to learn. The financial model, fascinating. Students can really, if they have no money, can really have a $0 bill for 120 credits. And you kindly, I mean, we just stayed in touch and you kept asking me things and asking for my opinions. And I hopefully helped you along the way. And there were times when I would suggest things that I think the university wasn't ready for, but 10 years later, I think it's almost 10 years, it's amazing what you put in place, transfer credit, and students are graduating, and it's fascinating. So, and I also reviewed the learning model and, wrote a very positive review because, I wasn't sure, but boy, being in the classes and looking at it, it's phenomenal for the students, really phenomenal. So yes, we've known each other for a while.
I definitely remember when you volunteered actually to take a course and to audit it and to give a report, and it was kind of, well, let's see what will come out of it, because who knows what you will find out. So
Yeah.
it was, yeah. And we obviously, I mean, it was great, and it was so important for us. So what are you most looking forward in your new role as a provost of your people?
Yeah. So, I've spent my career in institutions that have been around for a while, and they've I would call them almost a legacy institution, and they've built certain ways of doing things, and that is not to say that what they're doing is wrong, but often you end up having to undo a lot of the old structures and technology and models because institutions, especially as you get larger, are not very flexible. And I've spent, many times in my career trying to change something that was just almost intractable. It was almost impossible because, PeopleSoft couldn't do it, or that's not how we've done it. And University of the People is young enough, and you've got such good plans, and I know you're focused on AI and technology, that I really believe University of the People is going to be the model of the future for many, many students. And I've always wanted to be part of a fairly young institution and help shape it, because that's very exciting for me. And there's so much going on in ed tech, et cetera, that I think can really be very helpful. So always about serving students, but it's how we serve the students. That's what I'm excited about.
I can't agree more with you. And I do believe that we're building a model that the other will replicate, because we are the university of the future. Not necessarily the only model, but definitely a model that many will replicate. First of all, you are the first provost that we are going to have full time after David Cohen was with us for 13 years by now, and they're actually staying with us to advise us. But you're the first time we're taking this amazing job full time. But thinking about it, I'm not sure if all of the people out there, and especially our students, know what provost is. Can you tell us what provost is?
Yes, I'll try to explain it. And this is a funny question. I can't tell you in my career when I was a provost at University of Maryland Global Campus, people ask me this all the time, like, here's the provost. I don't know what she does, but she's our provost. It's a strange word, but provost essentially means that I'm in charge of the academic quality of the programs and the quality of the faculty, and really the quality of the learning that our students graduate with. So I see it as the core of what we're trying to do, and making sure that everything that we're doing is top-notch, highest quality, great outcomes for the students. But I would add to this that increasingly provosts are asked to be innovative. In other words, you can't stick with the old models. There are many ways to get to quality. There are many ways to get to serving students and making sure we've got the best model, but we have to be open to innovation. And I add that because I think sometimes people think of the provost almost as a principal of the high school, right? We just, yell at you, but really today's provosts have to be thinking about how to do things even better and more innovatively. Does that help?
I think that very much so, and I certainly hope that that will be the major part of the role. Keep thinking about how to do things better, because not only that we're growing, if you do the same things again and again, you become obsolete by yourself. So you need to reinvent yourself all the time, and that should be part of your existence. Otherwise, you lose the edge. So I salute you for coming with this declaration. So how do you think higher education will look now? I mean, not now, we are in the midst of pandemic and maybe in the edge of another wave, but it will be over. And how do you think higher education will look after the pandemic will be over?
Well, Shai, this is where I might disagree with you. I don't know that it will ever be over. I think we will be, well, I think the serious pandemic where people are dying in large numbers, which is very serious. I mean, at some point we'll deal with that. But I think that we have to be ready for the next coronavirus, the next pandemic. And I'm not trying to be negative or get people scared, but we've got to be ready for some, big kind of changes in the way we see the world and what's going on. I mean, the climate issues, environmental sustainability. I think we have to get used to, there might be periods of time every year where we wear masks just because there's some new virus out there. And so all of that, I say that because it's going to be even accelerating change. And the only thing higher education can do is really take a look at itself and try to accelerate and innovate its own model to serve students better. And so that, again, is why I'm so excited about University of the People, because you're out there, you're already thinking about that, you're already working in that way. There are many colleges and universities, and it makes me sad because these were wonderful institutions in, the beginning of the 1900s, even into the middle of the 1900s, but a small liberal arts campus that charges a lot of tuition somewhere in rural America, they just aren't going to attract students. It's not the way we do things anymore. So we've got to be thinking about online, increasingly hybrid models. I think more institutions, if they're not totally comfortable all online, they will find some ways to do some hybrid face-to-face and online. And education is going to be a platform. It's not a place. It's a series of services and interactions that help people tap into what they need to learn all the way through their lives. And again, that's University of the People.
Interesting. I agree with you, and I think that I hope that I disagree. I hope that I'm right that the pandemic will be over, but I agree that
I hope so too.
that higher education will be different, and
yeah.
I think that there still is some resistance to online because it's so different and threatening for those who are not used to it. But the fact that 75% of the students saying that they will continue studying online says it all. And either universities will adapt, as you said, fully, partially, hybrid, online, or they will vanish. So yeah, it's we agree on that. So from your experience,
Mhm.
what advice will you give our students in
Yes.
their life, in their career?
Oh, boy. So there is a lot of, look, I'm not a fully trained futurist, but I try to really read a lot about the future. I know people who think about the future. And one of the big changes is that humans will live a longer life. There is some really interesting research going on that will allow people to live longer. And some are saying that the first person who's going to live to 150 has already been born, which just blows my mind, but okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you look at the demographics even right now, in order for us to fill all the jobs that are out there, we need people to actually stay in the workforce for a longer period of time. This, kind of 1960s American view that you retire when you're 65 and then you just golf for a number of years. That's not reality for most people. And so what people need to do is think about their trajectory through their life and how do they keep learning. They cannot stop. I mean, I'm so happy that so many more students can have a baccalaureate degree now because of University of the People, but that cannot be their last day. When you look back at your own career, and I know mine, I have learned probably more after college and graduate school than I ever learned in it. And we have to be constantly learning. And so just recently, I took a course from George Washington University, and I've taken Coursera courses, and you need to be in charge of your own learning and thinking about it. They also need to prepare for the fact that they will probably have 2 or 3 very different careers. They might start in information technology and at a certain point move to healthcare, and then they might become a teacher. I mean, our lives change, our needs change. So be open to that. And we have to kind of blow up that idea of whatever our parents did. That is not what we're going to be doing. And so just be ready. I think it's hopeful and it's positive. I'm not trying to be negative. I think it's exciting, but higher ed has to catch up with that too, because what university is offering constant learning all the way through people's lives? Well, I'm hoping we can start thinking about that.
Okay, that's something to think about. Great. Marie, it was great talking to you. And again, congratulations for joining us, and to be continued. Thank you so much. And let's move on together.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Take care, Shai.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.